All right, everybody. If you are writing a book, you are in the right place because we are going to teach you everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote an amazing book. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, co-founder of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and I'm here with our superstar author, Joanie Lindenmeyer. We go live every Friday to share everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote an amazing book. So, Joanie, welcome.
Hi there, Elizabeth. Good to see you. Hi, everybody. And yes, we go live. I love that part. We go live. We definitely have that going on.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So this week, Joni came up with a really great topic to talk to all of you aspiring authors out there about a really, really important mindset hack that you can use as you're writing. Joni, you want to share the topic?
You bet. It's pretty simple, but it is very, very crucial that writing takes perseverance and commitment because it's not a sprint. It's not a sprint, but just commit and persevere, and great things will happen.
So, writing a book is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And how do you win a marathon or actually just finish a marathon of 26 miles of running, 26.2 miles of running? You go step by step. So, when you're writing a book, it is word by word. And the really wonderful comparison here is that a marathon has a route. If you do the New York City Marathon or the Detroit Marathon here, there is a route. The police have cordoned off the streets and you know where you're going and it's all set for you. So when you're writing a book, you also need a road map. And when I coach people, like I coached you, Joni, we outlined
Yes.
the book, which becomes your roadmap. And so
Yes.
that's very exciting. But I love the metaphor of marathon and running in comparison to writing a book. You're a sports post person, Joni. Do you see any other comparisons there?
Oh my gosh, all the time, and I think the perseverance is you don't quit. That's number one. You don't quit. You start your journey and you just don't quit. If you end up going from a run to a jog to a walk, but you just keep taking those steps. And
Mm.
that brings me to my prop for the day.
Okay.
And it's very simple. And I know that you're into essential oils. So this
Yes.
is
I'm here.
frankincense.
Frankincense. Joni's holding up a bottle of frankincense essential.
Frankincense.
Okay.
And what that is all about is vitality.
Mm.
Vitality, because you have to have vitality in order to stay committed to what you're doing.
Mhm.
And if you lose your vitality, then somehow you've got to regain it or restart or push a reset button or
Mhm.
something to get
Mhm.
that vitality back so your perseverance and commitment can kick in.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
So
And
keeping
I
your
love what you said. It's one word at a time. It's one sentence at a time. It's one chapter at a time, you
Yeah,
know?
wonderful. Well, this is so cool. I have run in the Detroit Free Press Marathon a couple times. And you
Really?
do, yeah, yeah. The first time I did
Whoa.
18 miles, I was on a relay team, and it's so cool because you go over the Ambassador Bridge, which separates Detroit and Windsor, Canada.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
literally go over an international waterway into Canada. You run through a park, and then you come back in the tunnel, which is under the Detroit River. So the patter of all the feet around you is so exciting and it's so invigorating. But the interesting thing is you do, quote, hit a wall, or I didn't, but some people do. And that means you get stuck. And that could be compared to writer's block. Hitting a wall in a marathon means your energy, you don't think you can take one more step. And
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm,
when you're writing a book, writer's block can strike, and that's when you
mm-hmm,
need to stop and assess what is going on. It could be that you have a mental block of fear or anxiety around it. You might think it's not good enough. You might be confused or overwhelmed about your content and what to include or not, how to structure the book. You might get lost in rewrite-itis, which you should not do until you get to the end of the book and you finish it. But those are common problems. And another thing, Joni, you mentioned vitality is staying fueled up because during the marathon, I would first of all drink a lot of water and they have water stations along the route. And
uh-huh.
secondly, they would give you these little energy packs. and they were like glucose. It was like sugary, and it would just keep give you a burst of
Right.
glucose to fuel you. So when you're writing, you have to stay energized, which means getting enough sleep and eating and drinking the right things that you know work for your body.
Right, right, right. You know, you mentioned that that burst. It reminds me of I don't even know what they call it. I used to call it fartlek running, and that's just like a dog jogs and then sprints, jogs, then sprints. And I've been doing that even with my walking, and it might be called high intensity. I don't know what it's called now, but that burst where you're walk like for me right now, I walk and I do my mile or 2 miles or whatever I'm going, and then all of a sudden I'll sprint for about, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 seconds. Then I go back to my fast walk and then I sprint again. But those bursts, it happens when you write too. I was just thinking about that. When I wrote None Better, when we wrote and collaborated on Joyously Free and Healing Religious Hurts, it was the same thing. You get in that groove of writing, and then all of a sudden you have a burst of stuff that just sort of flows out of your heart or your fingertips or whatever. But that sort of happens. So when you said the word burst, I get that. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's exciting. And then the adrenaline rush of running in a marathon is incredible. That will propel you along for quite a ways. And it's really all a mind game. You can, and when you get to those difficult points, you say, I can do this, I can do this. And you can also draw on other people for inspiration. One of our authors is Master Sergeant Cedric King. His book is called The Making Point, How to Find Success at Your Breaking Point. And he was a soldier leader in the U.S. Army in Afghanistan. He stepped on a bomb, it blew off his legs. And now he's a motivational speaker, and his book is a bestseller. And he does triathlons, but he also runs
Wow.
marathons, the Boston Marathon, the New York City Marathon, and others. He's done to the Detroit one as well. So he said, this is the best story, and it's in his book. He was at the Boston Marathon, which is one of the most difficult marathons you can run. And he said that there were these women in the first aid tent or the snack tent where you can stop and rest for a minute or get band-aids or whatever if you need it. And he
Uh-huh.
said these women said they were ready to give up. It was two women running together. It was like the 18-mile mark or something. They
Uh-huh.
said they were so ready to give up because it hurt and they were exhausted and everything else. And then they saw him on his blades, running on his
Oh,
blades. And they're like, oh no, if he can do this, we're going to do this. So they followed him through the rest of the race. So you can find inspiration on your writing journey. That's why I'm a book coach and I do all kinds of things that help guide writers along their writing journey. And you might be in a writing group, you might be have a writing partner, whatever you need for that moral support to keep you going and to keep
mhm,
you accountable, because
mhm,
you're not going to slack if you know you meet with your writing group every Tuesday night at the library. They're going to be like, well, what have you written? And then people share what they've written and everybody critiques it. It's a critique group. I've never done that kind of thing, but when I was in the Romance Writers of America, that was the thing. There were women who religiously met with their critique group to get feedback on whatever new things they've written. Have you ever done that, Joni?
We've had study groups like that, but not as a writing group.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
and your writer's circle, that's what we do at your writer's circle, which I
Yeah.
love because
Yeah.
that's inspiring and it keeps, like you said, the accountability, but
Mhm.
also the commitment just keeps staying there, the vital commitment that you need because you have
Mhm.
other people that are doing their thing, sharing their ideas and or just where they are with the whole process. You
Mhm.
know, I love that story of Staff Sergeant, what's his
Cedric
name?
King. Cedric King.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, he's
cool.
an amazing speaker. And the forwards of his book were written by Charles Schultz, the former chairman of Starbucks, and also
Yes.
Gary Sinise, the actor, who has the Wounded Warriors Foundation that actually built
Oh,
Cedric and
yes.
his family a beautiful home in Atlanta. So
Oh,
Cedric,
wow.
he's a rock star, but he turned his pain into power as a motivational speaker. He was actually in the hospital in Bethesda, Maryland, military
Yes.
hospital for 2 years.
Yes.
And lots of dignitaries visit there, and
Yes.
including President Obama, Vice President Joe Biden at the time. That's how he met Howard Schultz. Montel Williams provided a quote for the book, and
Wow.
also that's how he met Gary Sinise. So everybody out there writing, turn your pain into power, and that can be your mission.
Mm-hmm.
Because now
Mm-hmm.
Cedric draws on all the stories of combat, of wounding, of healing to
Mm-hmm.
inspire audiences at companies and organizations all across America.
Yeah. Yep. And I was just reading parts of my Healing Religious Hurts book today, because my own words inspire me. Is that crazy? But
Oh,
my
I
own words
love
inspire
it.
me. And that's
Uh-huh.
sort of how I came up with the topic today, and
Uh-huh.
of commitment. Can I read just a little bit from Healing Religious
Of
Hurts?
course. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on page, this is Healing Religious Hurts. This is the book that Elizabeth and I co-authored together, and we added 17 contributing writers. It was published October 1st. So it makes it only like 3 months old, a little bit over 3 months old.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite chapters is Marriage and Death, chapter 5. So I'm on page 137. And so I won't read all of it, but I want to read certain paragraphs that just really hit me this morning. And it says, married until death do us part. Here's the ultimate connection of love. And the word is commitment. Commitment to your lover or lovers at the beginning, middle, and end of life. It's magical and mystical. Carol and I fell deeply in love in 1983. It took us several years to figure out what to do, and more importantly, what God was calling us to do and be. We were both vowed nuns at the time, and there wasn't legal marriage for LGBTQ plus. We weren't using any descriptive LGBTQ plus words to even describe our relationship. Simply, we were two women in love and committed, there's the word again, committed ourselves forever to each other. We moved in together in 1986. Within a month, with our first paychecks, we chose our Black Hill Gold rings as our outward symbol of our never ending commitment love. There's the word again. Without fanfare, without a large crowd celebration, we hugged, kissed, and devoted our whole selves in the jewelry store parking lot and in our rental home. We lived private lives together, cherished, respected, and grew closer as time went on. Our life was bliss. There's Elizabeth's favorite word: sensual, sexual, and spiritual, the three S's. Uh, Let me repeat: marriage until death do us part. That was me and Carol. Monogamous and golden, Yahoo, yippee, and more Yahoos. Now, not all relationships are that way. We each have our own vocation and journey to follow and live out our commitments. Live every day to the max, hopefully joyously free and healed from hurts. What's your story? And so I just thought, that is commitment. When you commit to a book writing or a person or whatever, that commitment is strong and vital. And that's why it goes along with everything we're talking about today, from your marathon runs to other authors that you've helped become incredible people, and they have incredible lives. And so I just get all pumped up with that. So, question for you, Elizabeth. Okay.
What's
Talk
that?
to me, talk to me about the commitment you have had, number one, as an author, and number two, as a book coach.
So the number one commitment to myself as an author is that I become obsessed. When I've had full-time jobs outside the home, I would write 4, 5, 6 in the morning before work, evenings, weekends. So I would stay completely committed because I was driven by my storytelling passion as well as my desire to be a published author and to influence people in a positive, powerful way. And then as a book coach, I love to share my expertise of having written and published almost 60 books, memoirs, business books, and novels. I love it. And I absolutely love when I'm working with people who come in so confused. They don't know where to start. They're overwhelmed. They're frustrated. They've been struggling for years to write their book. And then in 30 minutes, we outline their book and it's like they have this sparkle in their eye, like, yes, I can do this. So it's so exciting to serve as the guide to help people awaken that clarity and do it and finish. I love it.
Right on. And that's what you did for me with all three books. And so I just owe you a ton of accolades and thank yous for being committed to this mission that I am on. And so it becomes your mission too. And I just love that. And wow, to think about that, you've done that for 60 books or 60 people, not just books, but they're people, and their
Mhm.
lives have spread and they've spread stuff,
Mhm.
that's so cool. And the perseverance to do it. I think you shared last time, Elizabeth. That is so cool. Thank you. You shared last time that you and Catherine and your business is like 9 years running strong.
Yes,
Now
February
that's
2nd.
perseverance and commitment. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, thank you for reminding me that February 2nd, 2025 will be our 9-year anniversary. And we started because I was already ghostwriting and had learned how to self-publish. And Catherine has the business background as a financial advisor. And so we just were like, wow, let's start a business to do this and provide this service. So we launched it, and there's been huge learning curves, learning things the hard way, but finally hitting our stride and figuring it out, and now expanding into book coaching and retreats, writing retreats. So, yeah, we're going to have some kind of online party, so stay tuned for details on that. And it's really an exciting celebration.
That is so cool. That is so cool. And probably there are people out there writing right now that are involved in their own business, and the commitment that they have had to their own business, or now they're taking on the next thing of thinking about writing or doing it or in the process of it or almost finishing whatever they're completing.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
exciting to think of. Oh, Jiminy Crickets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is exciting. But to get back to our point of perseverance, when Catherine and I were going through difficult times with the business where we were learning, the intense work required to make an index in a big memoir, that was a huge job. Um, so when we were going through moments like that, we're like, we have to do an excellent job for our author, and we're just going to persevere through the energy and the time commitment and just get it done. And we did, and it was excellent. So
Mhm.
things like that. And then tweaking the way we do things to be more efficient and effective. And then thankfully hiring assistants who help us stay organized and keep our structure intact, systems. And so, yeah, the same goes for writing a book. You need a system, you need structure, you need a schedule, and that's how you persevere and get it done. It's not just this willy-nilly, haphazard um, thing that you do, oh, when I get some time. You have to actually structure your time so you can commit to the writing when your brain is on high energy.
Yes,
And
yes, yes. And that relates so much to the examples you gave of the marathon running,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, working out. Oh my gosh, yes, for sure, for sure. And it's not a sprint, and you're in it for the long haul.
Right.
Did you think back then that your business would become a 9-year business or a 20-year business or a 30-year business? I don't know. You probably did.
Yeah, we were thinking long term, but we were also like, you get so consumed by the immediacy of everything and what's the deadline and what do I have to do now? And so time just passes as you're doing all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that happens with a book too. You have to look at the big picture. You have to know if unless you're with a big publisher that decides your publication date, you have to know what you're aiming for when you want to have the book completed and published so that you can reverse engineer and strategize from there. Same
Right.
with if you're running a marathon, you need to economize your energy. So, what's the word? Regulate it so you don't burn out at the beginning, like run really
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like conserve your energy throughout so you have a slow and steady pace. Not slow, but slow and
Right.
steady wins the race.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Steady Eddie, steady Eddie.
uh-huh.
Yep, for sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Hmm.
And that reminds me, I'm not so much writing right now, but I'm promoting all the books. And that takes a steady course as well. And it doesn't just happen like that. It's not just a sprint, but it's lining up and talking to people and networking and seeing how this will work for them to make it a win-win. Which is what
Hmm.
I'm always after, is the win-win.
Hmm. Love
Yeah,
that. That's
definitely.
really exciting. Yeah, that's a great point, Joni, about promotions also being when it's first released, when your book is first released, you want it to be a sprint because you're doing all these events and media and social media and all the other things, excuse me, to tell people about the book right away when it first launches. But then it is a marathon because you want to continue to promote the book and get it into the hands of the people who need it.
Right.
So you need a
right.
long-term strategy instead of it's just the sprint. Because then when it's over, we've seen authors do that. They have this lovely launch party and there's no structure to continue promoting it. They get depressed because all the
Mhm.
fanfare is over, the book isn't selling. So we've learned really important to work with our authors to create a long-term strategy of promotion. And you've mastered that. I mean, None Better has been out for how long, Joni?
It'll be 2 years this March.
Okay, so for 2 years, you've been going to prides, you've been traveling to multiple states, you've been doing media, you've been doing events big and small at bars and restaurants and homes, and you just continue, you keep that momentum going. And
Hmm.
so that's
Hmm.
good for your morale. And fortunately, you're retired, so you have the luxury of time and
Yes.
freedom to go travel and do what you need to do. Um, so that's really important in activating all your networks of all the people you know who can invite you places and promote you and refer you. So all of you authors out there, just continue to think about things in the big picture, the long term. It is a marathon, not a sprint, but there are appropriate times for sprinting. Another
Right.
thing that I can't stress enough is the importance of sleep. For me, if I don't get my really good sleep, my genius zone remains an elusive place, and that is where I
Mm,
want to be.
mhm, mhm,
So I have to get my solid sleep so that
mhm.
I can get in my genius zone and do my writing or editing or whatever I'm doing that day. And also the way I fuel my brain and body with beverages and um, vegetables and lean, healthy meats and healthy fats. And the way I eat is calibrated to maximize my brain energy and my performance like an athlete.
Absolutely. I totally agree with all of that. Yep. And I'm a person that needs my 8 hours of sleep. It's like that's just, I know that about me. And speaking of fresh veggies, I just picked brand new grown Brussels sprouts yesterday. So I cooked those for dinner last night. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I love to go to
wow.
my garden, take out the goodies that I want, and be able to get those all fired up and put in my body. But yes, all that is part of that self-care, that self-love, which is so, so important. Yep,
Mhm, mhm.
for
And
sure.
spiritual practice is really important too. And that is also a marathon, not a sprint. It's not like you're going to be this feverishly praying person or all of a sudden starting to meditate just while you're doing your book. It should be
Right,
a part of your daily practice so that just like working out is not just all of a sudden a trend that you do for 3 months while you're writing your
right.
book. No, it should be ongoing so that you stay in this zone of wellness on every level, mind, body, spirit. And so your spiritual practice, Joni, you go into your prayer corner for
Every day.
inspiration, and that's where you got the ideas for Healing Religious Hurts and Joyously Free, the two
Yep.
books we did together. And then I meditate, I clear chakras, I lead a women's meditation every Wednesday at 8. And Joni, you of course come to that, 8
Yes.
Eastern
And that's
time.
open to everybody. So if you hear this right now, everybody, maybe you can put the link there or something.
Yeah.
You do that. When I look at the thing is where do I find that link to go to these things you've talked about from these
Um,
podcasts?
Yeah, I still need to add some links to some of the graphics. So that's coming hopefully
Okay.
today.
Okay. That would be helpful. That would be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of I think it's the Chinese, is it Chinese elm or Chinese bamboo tree that
Yeah.
when you plant the seed or when the seed's in the ground, that it takes anywhere from 5 to 8 years to actually see the growth come out.
Right, right,
And you
right.
think about, well, when did that start? When did it start growing? Was it at the seed or was it only when the plant is visible? It sort of reminds me of this commitment, perseverance that we're talking about. It's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Well, it's inside of you, and then all of a sudden you got to write it, you got to tell it, you got to share it. But when did it really start? Probably years before that.
Yeah, so with the bamboo plant, you have to keep watering it. And so that is flexing the faith muscle that I'm watering something I can't see for 5 or 8 years. I know it's going to come up, just like it says believe in my window.
Yes, yes.
You just have to believe that you can bring this book up and out of you. You can grow the bamboo plant, which symbolizes prosperity. So very powerful. Anything else you want to add, Joni, about perseverance, commitment?
Oh, I think we hit it from a lot of different angles today. And I think that, people can take this and run with it in their own way, which I think is what it's all about. And that's what you have taught me is that, you have to find what works for you. And
Mhm.
that's why we do a lot of variety of different things to help people to do that. And you are always a lady of wisdom and articulation and commitment and perseverance. So on
Oh.
behalf of Joni to Elizabeth and Catherine, I thank you for that. And listeners, hang on to these people. Hang on to these people.
All right. And all of you, if you want some help writing a book, I'm doing a Write Your Book in a Day retreat on Saturday, January 18th, 2025. It's virtual, and I actually have a 2-for-1 special. So you can literally pay half price if you bring a friend and they pay two, to attend and leave with an outline for your book. So it's the most amazing investment you can make because it will help you get a jump start and find the motivation and the instruction that you need to write a great book. So, Joni, thank you, thank you,
Oh,
thank
oh,
you.
I do have one more thing.
Okay.
To everybody out there, I'll be seeing you this week because I will be in Medford and Eastland and the Southern Oregon University and the libraries and the churches. And so I'm looking forward to see everybody over there and spread the word.
Oh, that is wonderful, Joni. And everybody, we'd love it if you could subscribe to the channel and also um, like this video and share it with anybody who is trying to write a book because we love to help and we love to hear your comments. So please
Yes.
ask us any questions and we can address them in future episodes. So thank you, Joni, for joining me here today on the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing YouTube channel.
And
And
thank you.
you're welcome. And we appreciate all of you for tuning in to learn everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote a great book. We wish you happy reading and happy writing.
You bet.
Please visit
Have a great day. Love you
also,
bunches.
yes, visit Two Sisters Writing and Publishing to learn more.